this recipe is going to be strawberry raspberry smoothie. It's really good. I hope you guys enjoy it. So first we're going to put in a cup of strawberries. Now I'm using frozen because that's what we just happen to have, but you can use fresh. So whatever's your preference. Now we're going to put in a half a cup of frozen raspberries. Now we're going to put in a half a cup of milk. Now here I'm using whole milk, but you could use whichever milk you like. Put that in. Now we're going to do a half a cup of vanilla yogurt. I just wanted to say, guys, for this recipe, I'm using Trader Joe's Greek yogurt. It's vanilla flavored, and it's really good. It doesn't taste like plain Greek yogurt. Trust me on that. So I'm using that instead of plain because it gives it a really nice flavor to the smoothie. So that's the half a cup of yogurt. You can use whichever yogurt you want. Now we're going to do a half a tablespoon of honey. I'm just going to use a tablespoon and just spill half of it out. Just to give it a little bit of sweetness, because sometimes strawberries can be a little tart. Now we're going to put in a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then after we put this, you can put like a handful of spinach if you want to be healthy. If you just want it to be fruit, you're free to do so. So this is about how much I put in here. It's a big handful. Maybe a little less, because if you do too much, it gets a little green. So now we're ready to blend. Now we're ready to blend. So you can put it on 6 or 7, and then you can start blending. Now your smoothie's ready to eat. So now we can go grab, I'm going to use this cup because it's like a nice looking cup and it's good to drink from, and we're going to spill it in. Sometimes it makes more or less than the cup. So once it may spill down the side, that's fine. But just use a paper towel and cleaning up. And now you're done. So this recipe is going to be almond butter toast. It's really good. It's very simple, quick, and easy. So for this recipe, I'm going to use this whole rye bread. It's gluten-free, but trust me on this, it's really good. This is my favorite bread to use on it, and I hope you guys will enjoy this recipe. Now I'm going to put the bread in the toaster. Now we're ready to assemble our almond butter toast. So we're just going to put on some almond butter first. You could also use like peanut butter or any other nut butter that you would want instead. Lather it on. It's okay if some spills down the sides. That's normal for this. Get all the corners. Now we're going to put on some cinnamon and honey. Well, I also forgot to say, guys, the banana. That's a vital part of this recipe. So cut a few more. These banana pieces are a little more, are not as circular because of the shape of the banana, but it's okay. So now we're gonna put on a little bit more cinnamon. Oh, if that was a large amount, you can put on the honey. Just a little, do it on an angle so it gives it a good flavor. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. So this recipe is going to be strawberry chocolate chip overnight oats. But first what we're going to do is cut the strawberries so we can put them in. And usually I just cut them in half and then that's enough. So for this recipe, first we're going to put in 1/3 cup of oats. Now if you miss some in the jar, just pour it back in. It's hard. Now we're going to put a pinch of cinnamon in this recipe. So I'm just taking a teaspoon and just literally putting in a pinch just to give it a little bit of flavor, and you should be good. Now we're going to put in about like 5 or 6 strawberries into the overnight oats jar. Now you can use a jar or a bowl, whichever is your preference. Now that we have it in the jar, we can start putting in the other ingredients. First, we're going to do a tablespoon of flaxseed meal. Now, I'm just leveling it in the container. Put that in. And now we're doing 1/2 cup of milk. Here in this recipe, I'm using whole milk, but you can use dairy-free or whichever milk you would like. Sometimes cooking gets a little messy, as you can see. Hard to keep everything clean. Now we are ready to put in a teaspoon of maple syrup. Now we are putting in 1/2 tablespoon of chocolate chips. You could skip this part of the recipe if you want, but I thought it would just add to the recipe. You could put more or less than I did in this recipe, however much you want. So it's just a little bit. Maybe we could add a little bit more. Okay. Hi guys, I forgot to add, if you really want to give it a chocolatey flavor, you can use cocoa powder, and this is Hershey's cocoa powder. So currently I'm going to use about 1/2 tablespoon, just to give it a good flavor. And then we're going to use a spoon to stir it to go. Thank you so much for watching. So this recipe is going to be cinnamon apple overnight oats. First, what we can do is we're going to cut the apple. And you really only need 1/2 of an apple for this recipe, but depending on the size of your apple, will depend on how much you can fit in your jar. But if you want to use a bowl, you're fine to do that too. whatever you want. So here I'm just cutting them into like little slices so that they fit into the jar. You cut them whatever size you want, but it really makes it taste so good. And you can use whichever apple you want. Right here I'm using Gala apples, but whatever you want. So now we're ready to assemble our overnight oats. Just need to cut it there. So first what we're going to do is put 1/3 cup of oats. So right here I'm using old-fashioned oats, but you could do steel cut, whichever one you like. So now I'm just going to spill into the jar. Be aware that it might not all go in the jar. That's fine. So you could just kind of spoon it into the jar from like the edge of your counter. It gets a little messy, but it really does taste good. And now we're going to put in a teaspoon of cinnamon. And you can just level it out using the cap of the jar. Back into the container. Put that in. Now we're going to do a pinch of ginger and cloves just to give it a kind of cinnamon apple flavor. Now we're going to just take a little pinch of it, put that in. And if you did a small pinch of ginger, you're going to do even a smaller pinch of this clove. And now we're going to put in a tiny little sprinkle of salt. Right here I'm using Himalayan, but it really gives it a good flavor. I know it sounds weird, but it's good. Now we're going to put our apple in if you want. You could cut it a little bit smaller, see as I'm doing here. And you could just put it in. Now since this was a smaller apple, I kind of put most of the apple, but it depends on how big your apple is. So there's that. You know, maybe a little too much. This is perfect. Depends. You're not going to be able to mix it if you use too much. Now it's time to put in a 1/2 cup of milk. Okay, so it's going to be hard to spill in there, but actually it ended up not spilling this time. Be aware that it can be messy or happen to be good at this time. So now we're going to put in a teaspoon of maple syrup. And we're also going to do a tablespoon of flaxseed meal, just because it really doesn't have that bad of a taste. I know you would think, oh, flaxseed meal, but it's really good. Now we're going to use a tablespoon of flaxseed meal. It doesn't have a bad taste. So we're going to just put that in there. And now we can just use a spoon and just stir it together. It's going to be a little hard because it's in a jar, but it's going to be really good. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Currently it's night and we're going to see this. Now it's time to take out our overnight oats. These were the chocolate strawberry ones. So they look really good. It was optional to put in the cocoa powder, but it's pretty healthy and it gives it amazing taste. So it's kind of hard to mix in the jar, like as you can see from the previous clip. So I'm just putting it in a bowl so everything could be more like combined. It's a little messy too, falling out, but it's fine. So I really didn't have that many strawberries. It kind of looks a little sad, but it's fine. You didn't really have a lot of strawberries, so that's why there's like only 3 strawberries, but it tastes good, so don't worry. Thank you for watching. Hi guys, now it's time to look at our overnight oats. So now that it's the morning, it's the time to put our overnight oats into a bowl. So you could eat it out of here, but it's kind of hard to eat it. It's just like, I don't know. I like it better in a bowl, but free to do whatever you want. Sometimes it gets a little messy. So this is just what it looks like when it comes out. Sometimes you might need to add a little bit more milk, depending on your preference. So this is the cinnamon apple one. It literally smells like cinnamon apple. It's amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. I also wanted to let you guys know that it tastes better than it looks. It may not look the most appetizing, but it tastes like apple crumb like cake. It's amazing. And so if you really liked the overnight oats recipes, comment below, and I'll do a video in depth just about overnight oats and like the health benefits and everything about that. And then also what other videos you want me to do, put it in the comments below, and I'll do whatever you want. Thank you so much for watching. Also remember to subscribe and hit push notifications for new videos. Thank you.